Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again this week on my blog. There is a football player in the NFL named Tyreek Hill. He plays for the Miami Dolphins now. He is one of the fastest humans on the planet, I suppose. They clocked him running in a game recently at almost 22 miles per hour. Try and imagine that. Like, go to a gym and put the treadmill on 10 and try and run that fast, and then imagine more than twice that fast. That's how fast this guy can go, wearing full pads and the whole 9 yards. He is a special player, probably one of the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. Now, he will only be able to play in the National Football League for so long. That time frame might be 10, 12 years, whatever it is for a wide receiver. But eventually he's gonna have to retire, and that will probably be in his early to mid 30s, I would suppose. I don't know. I guess there are a few like Jerry Rice who played a little bit longer at that position, but who knows? It definitely, mid to late 30s at the latest. And recently someone asked Tyreek Hill, said, what do you want to do when you retire? And he said he wanted to become a porn star. I thought about that. I thought, porn has become so mainstream in our culture that he felt like he could say that and didn't expect a negative reaction. Be a porn star. Now, I hope he doesn't do that. And I hope he doesn't do that for lots of reasons for Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek, if there's any chance you would see this video, there's other reasons I don't want you to do it, and it's because I don't want you to do it for the people that you will influence. See, because I think there are kids out there, young men maybe, in their, high school years, who might go to find one of your videos just to see you with a woman. And as a result, it could be the very thing that causes them to get hooked on porn. See, porn is an addiction that damages the hearts and the minds of people. Satan uses porn. He gets his clutches into people, and then he controls them with it. He, like any other addiction, they begin to need more of it. And sadly, because of the way addictions work, at first, what would be considered normal video of 2 people together would be enough for anyone to get aroused. But over time, just like alcohol, it takes more and more content for people to get aroused. And as a result, young men get hooked, and they get hooked spending hours of their life looking at porn. And they think they can control it. But what they don't know is that now it has control of them. And as a result, as they get older, it will damage their relationships with women. In fact, it will cause them to look at women the wrong way. It will cause them to look at them as objects. It will cause them to treat them like objects and not with the love and respect and honor they deserve, because they are made in the image of God. It will affect the relationships that they have with women. If they get into a relationship, they might try and convince the woman to look at porn with them, and as a result, it begins to damage that relationship. And what was supposed to induce intimacy, unfortunately, begins to destroy intimacy. It might actually cause them to, it will affect the way they are intimate with a woman. And as a result of that, it will cause tensions in that relationship. It might actually cause them to cheat on their spouse, because marital infidelity is increased by nearly 300% by people who look at porn or have porn addiction. Years ago, porn was very difficult for men to see. You had to go to a store and get a magazine, or you had to be at somebody's house and a brother or a father had to have magazines and you would see it then. But now it's just a few clicks away. And so teenage young men might see porn on their phone, or they might see it on their iPad or in their bedroom on their computer. And as a result, they can get fixated on it, and it will cause them to enter what I call the roundabout of sin. If you don't live in an area where you have roundabouts, we do. It's common here in the South now, and certainly they're all over in Europe and so forth. But a roundabout is a really efficient way to get through a 4-way stop, rather than having cars come in at 4-way stop and stopping and waiting turns. You just get into the roundabout and you exit at a different location than you went in, and that's what it does. That's exactly what porn does. You go into looking at porn in one area and you come out somewhere else. You might come out with a unusual fetish or desire for something that you had no idea was going to hook into you. You might come out in an affair. You might come out damaging relationships in a divorce. Very rarely does anybody go into a roundabout and come back out the way they went in. And that's exactly what porn does. Satan hooks you in, and then once he gets you in, you're going to probably exit out in some other place. So if you are struggling with porn, I cannot encourage you enough to get some help. You're going to need to get some accountability. You're going to need to talk to another man who understands what you're going through. You might need to go see a counselor. You're certainly going to have to get some protections on your phone and the computers and any other places where you can see that explicit material. We know what the Bible says about sexual immorality, and we understand how damaging that is, all of us, whether you've experienced it or not. And the reality is that if you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old guy, or in your 20s or even in your early 30s, and you think that you are not going to be affected by porn, or it's not affecting you, you are so sadly mistaken. It will even cause erectile dysfunction as a result of watching it too much, because it takes more stimulation in order for you to get to the same place that you would be when you were younger. And I know this is a little explicit to talk about maybe, but it's so critically important. So if you have an issue, go get some help. You got to get away from it. You can heal from it, and you will heal from it, but you got to get clean. Just like an alcoholic needs to step away from alcohol for the rest of their lives, so a porn addict needs to step away from porn. So Tyreek Hill, back to you. If you're ever by any chance could see this message, don't get involved in porn. It's bad for you. It's gonna, the women who do porn often are on drugs and are getting paid to do things that are awful to their bodies, and they'll regret it later on. But more than anything, also remember who you might be drawing into porn, who wants to see you and is willing to watch that, and as a result, it might get hooked and unfortunately never be able to break away from it. Don't do it. And if you're currently involved in it, get some help. If you need to, reach out to someone, including me. I'll do whatever I can to try and point you in the right direction and get you some help. God bless you. Do your best every day to keep your thoughts and focus and mind on Jesus. Keep walking with Him, and I'll do the same, and I'll see you next week.